Come out, Fred.
Shut your damn mouth. So help me, I will slap a knot on your head, Steve Jones. No, but if it's gonna talk.
Oh, this was red cell?
This one was one.
We're gonna call it out tonight when we get over that other place.
I'm not going in.
Fred might be in there.
Get out.
Might be in there.
All right, guys, now this is the oldest cell block here in the prison, and this does date back to the mid-1800s. The cell block's 4 tiers high, and there is an identical cell block to this on the back side. This is B side, that's A side over there. Now, before the south end of the prison was built, and we had the severe overcrowding here in the north end, if you can picture, they actually had 3 men in each of these cells.
God.
2 bunks and a mattress on the floor. Now, once they built the south end of the prison and they moved general population down there and they moved the most violent inmates up here, it was only 1 man per cell from that point on. But before that, there were 3 men in each of these cells. Now, like I said, this all dates back to the 1800s. And they had a 2-tier security system. Every door had its own key. And up here at the top of the door, this and this is all solid steel. Down at the end of the cell block is what's called a slam bar. Now, to let this guy out of his cell, they would have to go down there, disengage the slam bar, which, I'm sorry, when it was engaged, this would slide over here. They would have to go down, disengage the slam bar to release this. Come up here, unlock the door with the key, let this guy out, go back down there, re-engage the slam bar for all the other cells on the tier. It was kind of a pain in the butt, but that's actually where the term slammer came from. You've heard he got sent to the slammer? That originated from the slam bar system.
What year did they add electricity to the cells?
I'm not sure what year it was exactly. I'm really not sure. Actually, when this was first built, there wasn't even any indoor plumbing.
Right, yeah.
Which I don't allow my mind to go there. I do not allow myself to think about that. But now when they did finally put indoor plumbing in, actually cell number 5 down here toward the other end of the cell block still has the original fixtures. It has the old porcelain fixtures in cell number 5. As those got broken, they replaced them with the stainless steel, but we do have one cell that still has them. Now, like I said, when they moved the most violent inmates up here, it was only 1 man per cell, but these men were confined to their cells for 23 hours a day. They would only get out for 1 hour of rec time a day, and that was it. They ate all their meals in their cells. Well, you'll see at the bottom of the door, the slots here, those are called bean slots. That's where the trays would be slid through. But now these men, they had nothing but time on their hands. And you'll see on some of the bunks and on some of the doors where there's pieces of metal missing. Now this is kind of an extreme example, but like here, they would work at this for hours on end with whatever they had. And one thing they would use a lot was dental floss, believe it or not. Just keep going back and forth with it and back and forth, and it would create friction, and eventually it would cut through the metal. Once they got a piece of metal off, they would sharpen it on the floor of their cell, and they had a shank. Now these guys, they didn't make shanks just to have them, because they would search the cells fairly often. They weren't going to put all that time and energy into something that was going to be confiscated. If they made a shank, they made it for a specific reason. They knew who they were gonna use it on, and they had it planned out exactly when and where they were gonna use it. Now, any of you guys, any questions at all? Yeah, there's a couple pictures in the museum of a couple of the guards that worked here, but I don't have pictures of all of them. No. We don't really have any here that we sell, but there's a lot on Amazon. There are a lot of books about the ghosts here. You want to close the door? We can close the door. I'm not going to close it all the way though, just to make sure we can get it back open, okay? I'll just close it like that. How's that?
Step closer, John.
So is there an accessible gap between here and the opposing cell?
On the other side, yeah, there's actually like kind of like a hallway down.
Oh, okay,
between.
yeah, right.
That's where all the plumbing and
Right.
the electrical and everything is.
Now, I know they didn't have the spreaded steel to start with. Any idea when this was added? This?
That was added, that was actually put on when they moved the most dangerous inmates up here.
Okay.
Once they got the south end of the prison built, they put that over, because originally it was just the bars.
Right, yeah.
All right, now, have any of you guys ever heard of a series on Hulu called Castle Rock?
I've heard of it, I haven't watched it.
It's actually really good, you ought to check that out. It's based on Stephen King characters. Well, the very first season of Castle Rock, a lot of it takes place in a prison setting. It was all filmed here. And cell number 9 down here was the cell they used for the main character in Castle Rock, because it is by far the most unique cell here in the prison. The inmate that was housed in cell number 9, he went by the nickname Scrappy, and Scrappy was a tattoo artist. And he definitely decorated his cell up a lot. Like I said, that is by far the most unique cell here in the prison. How do you get a Sharpie? They were allowed paint, and they were allowed like the soft felt tip markers. They weren't allowed like pens and pencils, but they could get the like soft felt tip markers and paint. They could have all the painting on it. Everything you see in the cells, all the drawings, all the writings, everything you see in the cells was done by the inmates. We've never added or altered anything. That's actually where the top house were. Oh gosh. Yes, I can do it.
So you sign all this stuff?
If the bed was saggy, then I guess it was a heavier prisoner in that.
This person, exactly. You got to sign on the cell, that was your cell, and you're out.
Nowadays, they have to create something.
Yeah, like I said, prison life is a lot different now than it was back then.
Everybody wants to go now.
Oh, I wonder who wrote that.
That's the prisoners.
Huh?
I guess the prisoners wrote that.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, well, it's in every prison road, all of it. Scrappy did most of it. He signed most of it.
Oh,
See here? A lot of them are signed. Okay.
Walk back and forth behind the fence here all day long and all night long.
How many old babies ever get in that bedroom? Say one, real, overprotected, I guess.
You
Yeah,
say-
he must have been back.
You say, oh, 5's got the original.
Yeah, this has the original fixtures in it.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, look through here and see the stamp.
What's the story with this?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you know the story with this door, why it has an offset?
I do know why that's like that.
Okay, well, talk to me.
Do you want the whole story or do you want the short story?
Whatever will convey the reason.
That's actually for a wheelchair.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was, it was actually specifically made for one inmate. back in, oh gosh, from like the 1920s up through the 1970s, and actually to a small degree today, this area, the Upper Ohio Valley, Wheeling, Steubenville, Ohio area, was actually known as Little Chicago because we had a huge organized crime presence in the area. Well, originally there was a man named Bill Elias. He was the top dog. He was the big guy. Well, there was another man named Paul Hankish, and Paul Hankish was working his way up through the organization, but he was stepping on a lot of toes. So Bill Elias decided to send him a message. He had a bomb planted in Paul Hankish's wife's car to send him a message. Well, it just so happened Paul Hankish's car wouldn't start that morning, so he took his wife's car. Bomb did go off. It didn't kill him, but it blew his legs off. He was in a wheelchair the rest of his life. Now, once Bill Elias died, Paul Hankish actually did make his way to the top. He became the top guy. But he also found his way in here through racketeering, prostitution, the whole organized crime thing. He was down in general population, and he would brag to the other guys, I can do whatever I want. They can't send me to North Hall because my wheelchair won't fit in the cells. And he tried to do whatever he wanted. So they eventually got tired of it, and they altered that cell specifically for Paul Hankish.
For ADA purposes.
And he served the rest of his sentence out in that cell.
And why is that encaged there, that cell number 1?
They actually, they did this, the officers would use that cell just to store their stuff while they were here at work. And like I said, right there beside it is the slam bar.
Right, I see the bar.
I imagine the reason they did that is because they probably could reach the slam bar from that cell.
Right, yeah.
You know, so they decided, you know what, we'll just take this cell and we'll make it for the officers to use to store their things. All right, guys, we're going to walk out this way.
There's a door over. There's a door on the back side though. See a door here?
Just one of the things like that where if something broke out, they could get in there and just stay safe.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right, guys, now this area is what they call the day room. This is where the officers would eat their lunch. This is where they would prepare the trays for the inmates. But this is also when they would bring the inmates out for their 1 hour of rest time. They would be brought out a few at a time from both sides, lined up along the benches. See the red line, they had to stay within the red line. Now, they would be taken back to this corner, strip searched, and then they could go out onto the yard. When they came back in, they would be strip searched again, taken from the corner there up to this area, that was the showers, and then back to their cell for 23 hours. Now, you know, a lot of people think, well, you know, they were in their cells for 23 hours a day, what harm can they do? A lot. That's all they had to do. Exactly. Plan it and execute it. You know, their whole window of opportunity was from the time their cell door was opened until they get taken into the corner and searched. So that was their window of opportunity. Once they were brought out, it only took seconds for them to attack. Before a guard could even react, they could have one of their counts back again. This area right here was probably the deadliest area. There were probably more murders committed right here in this area than anywhere else. Was any shot, prisoners shot, while there was killed somebody? I don't know of any specific cases, but I would say probably. And there would be an armed officer in here at all times. Of course, like I said, there would be an armed officer behind the fences on each side here. Now, I mentioned that when they come back off the yard, they would strip search them again, in case somebody slipped them something out there. Probably the strangest thing that was ever discovered One inmate, when we came back off the yard, they discovered a fully loaded Derringer concealed within his body. Now, 2 years ago, I had a tour one day, and I mentioned that, the fully loaded Derringer. I think it's more the way the woman said it than everything, and she was like, oh, I do hope the safety was on. I was like, seriously, that's what you got out of that? But anyway.
All right, guys, any questions? After it closed down, did anyone find anything?
Oh my God, we're still finding things. Oh yeah, we are still finding things. Just 2 weeks ago, one of our tour guides found, I forget what they call it, but it was like a little pouch filled with BBs. And what they used those for, they would put drugs in them. And the reason the BBs is because they could then throw it, if it was the weight, and they could throw it down to another inmate or whatever. But he just found one of those about 2 weeks ago, a pouch with the BBs. No, there was no drugs in it. But we find shags, we find all kinds of things still. I mean, it's amazing the hiding places that they found to hide things. I mean, we're talking 26 years later and we're still finding things.
How was there?
Exactly. I have a bunch of shags at home. All right, guys, so let's have one alcohol here. Alright guys, we are now in the administration building. 2 floors above us is where the warden's residence was. Now this here, this is what we call a wheel. And this is one of only 2 that exist in the world. There's this one, and there's one in Manchester, England, at a prison called Strangeway Prison, and they are the only 2 that exist in the world. But this provided excellent security for the warden and his family. It ran on a trolley motor. There would be an officer out there that would operate it, and nobody was going to get through here unless that officer out there lived. Basically, you would step on there, and the officer would turn to wherever you were going. Now, on that side was payroll. On this side was the original non-contact visitation before they would get down to South End. Of course, I thought it was the front doors or the stairs leading up to the warden's residence, and then of course this way. So you would step on there. If you were going to payroll, you would turn 1/4 turn, and that was the only place you could go. It's actually a really good feature. You guys are welcome to step on here and take pictures if you like. Now on this side of the hallway, that was the commissary, the post office, and the barber shop. And actually, I am going to point out back here at the end of this little hallway on the left is where the post office window was.
Oh, is that what that was? It looked like some sort of pay window, but yeah.
Yeah, it's that's where the post office window was, and that grate covering it. It is original to when the prison was first built, and it is hand forged.
It's got US on it, I
Oh,
noticed.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I absolutely
On the
love
back
that.
side.
I think that is absolutely gorgeous.
And that was the commissary too, like,
Yeah, on the right-hand side was the commissary.
they could get medicines and such, or something. Or is that the?
That's the post office.
Maybe cigarettes or buying something.
There's still leather works in there. Did you
The
see
roof
that?
has leaked for years.
Leather up there.
And the floors are literally rotted out. Nobody is allowed I mean, we're not even allowed up there because it is just way too dangerous. Which
What-
really, it breaks my heart. It totally breaks my heart.
What did you say this contraption was called? I understand the
We call it
purpose.
a wheel.
Okay.
Now, there's actually a feature upstairs in the warden's residence, and unfortunately I can't show you, but I can tell you about it.
Well, you can kind of tell us where it is, and we'll go over and look, and you like,
Well, when the prison was first opened, or was first built, I should say, the Eastern Star ladies, the women of the Masons, they actually had a feature put in up in the warden's residence. It is the size of this wall, it's huge, and it's a stained glass window in the shape of a pentagram. Now, of course, today everybody associates the pentagram with Satanism or witchcraft or whatever. Originally, the pentagram was a pagan symbol of protection, and it was put up there supposedly as protection for the warden and his family. But when Ghost Adventures was here, somebody let Zach Dagan go upstairs. They weren't supposed to, but they did. And he did take
Feel
pictures
safe.
of it, and he did have it on Ghost Adventures website if you wanted to check it out. You may be able to see it there.
Well, that is the symbol for Easter stars too.
Is it?
Yeah, and each star is
It's a different color.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
A different
okay.
stone. They put it on their rings and in their jewelry.
Oh, okay, see, I didn't know that, that's interesting. But I know that, well, like I said, originally it was a pagan symbol of protection.
Hanging down.
It's their symbol.
Oh, that's cool.
like
Yeah,
part of
like
the
I
cell.
said, it breaks my heart that we can't go upstairs,
Here.
because I mean, it's just way too dangerous, but I would love to see just this redone. Yeah, to make it look like it did when the prison was open, I think it would be so cool. For the rest of the prison, fine, leave it like it is, yeah, but just this. We have the original barber chairs we could put back in the barber shop. We have, you know, I mean, it's just like.
That would be,
If we just had the money, you know, that's the thing. I keep waiting for a billionaire to come through on my tour and, you know, say, hey, this is worth saving. Anybody?
No, then they'd have to fight the state to get it done.
Maybe after tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I got several tickets.
Yeah. All right, folks, anybody have any questions?
We'll buy the prison, Chuck.
Pardon me?
What's the story on that safe in there?
I don't know, but like I said, that was originally payroll. That was the payroll office. Yeah, probably, and they tried to see what was in it. All right, guys, let's head down to the south end of the prison. Watch your step right here, guys. It's very uneven.
Like some sort of visitors area too. So it's like a visitors area in there, it looks like. Got a little window you look through.
that was, reckon where they got medical attention.
The commissary, I think, is the same room.
That's what it said, there's the elevator run. X-ray, first class.
The best thing they ever did is put that.
What's on the back of here? Get ready to sell.
The lane, expressway on Interstate 77, that was the best thing they ever did. Because when I first started working out, they didn't have that. We never did.
Yeah, bad shape. Poor shape.
Oh, okay. Yeah, usually get on 77 and just go. That we did gain. And this is about the time of year we will start getting the little field mice. She goes with the fast. Let me see a mouse that's this big. And she goes hysterical.
Are there any questions for if somebody would stay like a couple minutes or, you know,
I'm gonna tell you, I don't think I'm gonna be turned loose in this damn place.
I don't.
I wouldn't want to have.
I'm good. I'm good.
I wouldn't, I really wouldn't.